Hello students, I welcome you to this session of Python programming. In today's session, I'm going to discuss with you the conditional statements in Python. So we have the if else, nested if, elif, these conditional statements in Python. I'm going to discuss all these statements one by one with you, taking plenty of examples so that the usage of these statements is clear to you. So let's start with the if statement in Python. Obviously, the very first thing that we see is that how the Python's if is different from the traditional, languages that you might have learned up till this point, that is C and C++. So as you know that if statement in C or C++ is written like this, we have a if statement followed by the condition in parenthesis. Then we have a block, okay? Then we have a block of statements which begin with the curly braces and ends with the curly brace. And the statements between these curly braces is the statements that are associated with the true part of this if statement. That is, if this condition is true, then these statements are executed, and if it is not true, then these statements are not executed, okay? Now the same statement, if statement, can be written in Python like this. Kindly see obviously the changes that are there in the statement. So we have a if, then we have a condition, then a colon, and then the statements. Okay. So you can see, we'll discuss what this statement, if statement writing in Python means. But you can see obviously that there is a less clutter out there in a Python if statement as compared to a C or C++ if statement. Okay, and as a scripting language, one of the Python's goal is to make programmers' lives easier by requiring less typing. You need to type less in Python. That is one of its goals. Now, if we see this syntax here of the if, okay, we see that what Python has added to it. Okay, and one contrasting striking feature here is this colon character, which is present here after the condition. You can see it here, the colon character. Okay. So all Python compound statement means statements which are more than one and that have other statements nested inside them. Okay. They follow the same general pattern of a header line terminated in a colon, followed by a nested block of code, usually indented underneath the header line. So for example, this is a header line, here is a colon. The statements which are nested under this header line, they are written by indenting them towards right. Okay, you can indent them as many spaces you want, but at least it should be one space towards the left of this H. Towards the right of this H. That is known as indentation, and that is very important. Okay, we'll discuss about indentation in this video at a later stage. So the colon is required in this if statement, and if you omit it, that is the most common coding mistake that the new Python programmers are going to make. Okay, then what Python removes? So we see that in our Python if statement, this colon is added. This is what is added by Python. Okay, this is a must in every statement that you write, whether it's an if statement or a for statement. Whatever you are going to do, you're going to use a colon. Okay, and this is a new thing which is added by the Python. Now what has been removed? Number one, parentheses are optional. So you can see here that the parentheses around the condition are optional. You may put them, you may not put them. Okay, so they are optional. So if this condition, if x plus y, can now be written like if x less than y in Python. So Python simply omits the parentheses in these kinds of statements altogether. You don't need to mention it. Then second thing that Python removes is the semicolon character that we used in C, C++ and Java, which indicates the end of a statement or which acts like a statement terminator. Okay, so the second and more significant syntax component you won't find in Python code is the semicolon. So if you were writing your C-like languages like the statement x is equal to 1 semicolon, it can be written in Python as x is equal to 1. So the general rule in Python is that end of line is the end of statement. So in Python the general rule is that the end of a line automatically terminates the statement that appears on that line. In other words, you can leave off the semicolons and it works the same way without the semicolon also. And the third one is that end of indentation is the end of the block. Now, the meaning of this statement is simply that you don't need to, start a block and then end a block. So here in C, like, languages, you start a block of statements with a curly brace and end with a curly brace. Okay. So in Python, you write it simply like this. Okay. So these two statements, if this condition is true, then x is equal to 1, y is equal to 2. These statements are executed if this if statement is true. These statements are indented towards the right of this if. By default, you should just, you can default it up to 1 character towards right, but then you can use spaces or tabs to do it. Remember that this indentation must be same, like if x is equal to 1, if x is here, you cannot write y is equal to 2 starting from here. It must start directly below x. So all the statements in a block, okay, they should be at the same level of indentation. Okay. So let us now take a few examples to understand this if statement in Python. Okay. So I'll write a code for you. Say, you can write a code to discuss if statement. So let me take a small example for you. A is equal to 6, B is equal to 8. If A is less than B, then I put a colon. Now see, the moment I put a colon here, your cursor comes here. This is by default the indentation that this interpreter has, this environment ideally has provided. Okay. So look again here. While I'm pressing enter here, the cursor is coming directly below B. But the moment I write this if statement and put a colon here, the cursor automatically comes here. Okay. So I can print here, I can print something. Okay. And then I can print something here. So just see, now this indented statement print, it tells us that it is associated with the true part of this if. So if this if is true, this print statement would be executed, and after that the rest of the code would be executed. Okay, so I'm going to run this code for you now. Okay. See, remember I have not put any parenthesis around this condition. Okay, I have not started any block, although there is only one statement in this block which is nested below this if. But I don't need to mark any, beginning. For example, beginning or end for this block. I may write another statement here. Okay. So both these two statements are indented. Okay. And they are at the same level of indentation. So let me first run this code for you. So obviously when we run this, the condition A less than B is true. So if it is true, then both these statements would be executed. Okay. And after that, this print statement would be executed. So I can save this code. I can give it a name, say AQ1, and I can see the output on the screen. Yeah, program is executing, it's taking some time. Yeah. So the output is welcome ACET. Because this if is true, both these statements, print statements are executed, and after that the next print statement is executed. Okay, you can see the output here. Okay. Now if I change this condition, if I make A is equal to 678 and B is equal to 88, then obviously this if condition becomes false. Okay, so if this if is false, then the statements which are indented here, which are related with the true part of this if, they won't be executed, and the next statement after the indented block, it would be printed. So now the output of this program would be go there, as you can see here. One thing that I pointed out in the presentation was the indentation level. Okay, That means I can write it like this also. Just one space towards this. Okay. And then I can again run this code for you. Now what I've done is I've written these print which are at least one space towards right of this I of this if. Okay. That is the minimum that is required. Okay. So if I run it here again, obviously the if would be false. So the output would be welcome ACET, go there, as you can see. Okay. But I would suggest that you take the by default that indentation that is provided by this ideally. So if I press enter here, the cursor is coming here. Let this be the indentation level. So you cannot do it like this. You cannot write it like this. There are two different indentation levels for this if block. One print is starting from here, one print is starting from here. So if you try to run this code, obviously you get the unexpected indent error. It is telling you that this print is at some unexpected indent. Okay. So you can just rectify it, bring it here. Now it's fine. We'll run again and we'll give you the output. Okay. And you may put an optional parenthesis around if you are, still in the C++ mode of programming. Initially, I think you may be tempted to put these parentheses. Fine, it doesn't, affect your output in any way. You get the same output that you were getting earlier. Okay. And I think that's all in the if statement that we need to discuss in this video. In my next statement, in my next video, I'll be discussing more about the if statement, the if else statement, and the elif statements. So till then, thank you very much. Keep watching my videos, and please, if there are any comments, you can put at the in the comment section of the video that you are watching. Thank you.